Today we are talking about how to perform a financial analysis. Could we talk about something more boring? No, but I gotta tell you, it's insanely important. Today we are gonna be breaking it down. I'm bringing back Rob Gill, my friend, because we're gonna be talking about the importance of financial analysis. What analysis, you might say? I don't know. Do you know when you're gonna retire? Do you have a financial plan for your future? Do you know what it's gonna take to get you where you wanna go? Because if you're like most people, the answer is no. Let's fix that in just the next few minutes.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
If you're watching this video, we know you need some help, because I don't know anyone that really likes to watch videos about financial analysis, looking at when they're going to actually financially retire. You know, the bottom line is when you start doing the math, it can get scary.
Yep.
But it doesn't have to if you know how to do an appropriate financial analysis. Because, dude, you rip that Band-Aid off, you look at where it's at, you find out if you're not on track, the sooner you can actually start making the kind of course corrections that can get you on track. And I've got Rob Gill joining me here today to actually
What's up,
have
brother?
this
Thank you.
conversation, dude. Big
As
Daddy,
always.
glad to have you here, man.
You know, for us, the first step when it's all said and done is you really have to start to become as honest with yourself as you possibly can. And that starts with when we're establishing the relationship, we're really going to outline what our responsibility is, what your responsibility is, and a trust back and forth. So that's usually the first step.
So you're saying that someone shouldn't do this on their own. They should actually have a knowledgeable team step in that can actually help you sort through it.
It's almost like if you're going to have somebody as a mentor, you want to
Yes.
make sure that your mentor is, you know, at the top of their game versus someone that may not be at the top of their game.
Okay, so we're talking about performing this financial analysis, and you taught me this thing called egg prim.
Yes, establish the relationship, gather the financial data, process that information, recommend the strategies, implement the strategies, and then monitor the strategies.
Don't forget egg prim.
So establish the relationship, and that really means it's our job, once again, to really outline what our roles and responsibilities are, as well as what your roles and responsibilities are. The next step would be to gather all of the financial data, the credit card debt, the savings account, the secret savings account.
Things you love to do, like, I'm going to dig around my files and find paperwork. No, listen, guys, this is stuff that people don't exactly like to do, but this is actually part of the reality check, right? Get honest with yourself.
Absolutely, Chris. And when we gather that data, as you know, we put it on the Epic Wealth Builder.
Yes. Which, oh, by the way, this tool is freaking amazing. I actually have never met a company that actually can take everything from your entire financial life and put it in a single portal.
Yep.
This is really cool.
Yeah, not just like a brokerage account, but once again, your credit card, your budgeting, your
Everything.
savings accounts.
It's all in there.
Your real estate inside the vault. You can put your estate planning documents. But once all that stuff is uploaded, it begins to, every single day, it reprograms itself because it's connected to all the financial institutions, so it makes your job easier.
Awesome.
Right?
So you gather up your documents.
Then we want to process the information, but we don't want to process it based on what we think is right for you. We want to process it based on who you are.
Yeah.
How many kids you have? Do you have any kids? Are you married? Are you in a second marriage? Are you in a first marriage? It can't be a cookie cutter approach. It has to be based on what your goals and objectives are.
Well, and that's actually something that I appreciated. Friends, I've taken years to try to find a group of individuals that I resonate with, because I obviously have a little bit of a financial philosophy that is different than society's typical go to college, get a piece of paper, work for somebody else, close your eyes, financially hope it all works out well at the end. And the reality is I've got a strong financial philosophy of my approach. And one of the things that I really respected, Rob, when I got to know you was you looked at that and you're like, you researched it, you looked at it, you're like, this is great. I'm glad that you have this. And by the way, we don't want to disturb that. We want to keep that where it's at. But what can we do to round it out and make sure that we're actually thinking of everything?
And that's the next step, where once we understand goals and objectives, have a clear picture of who you are, where you're going, where you've been, where you are now, we're then going to recommend strategies. Maybe 2 or 3 different strategies that sit and fit with what we discussed. And within the space of that strategy, we want to make sure it's within your best interest. And from an overall planning standpoint, we want to be able to put it together from that place.
And the thing here I think that's really important is that at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff out there that if you do the math, it'll never get you where you want to go. And so I love kind of the reality check that says, all right, we want diversification. We want to know all of our options. And is this a plan realistically that can meet your objectives and goals? And that's something that doesn't often happen in this industry, is that there's a lot of people in the financial analysis that know that it's not going to add up to what you need, and they just zip their lips and they don't say anything about it because it's like, awkward to look at that. And so they don't point that out. They're like, well, let's just do stuff and hope for the best. Hope is not a good financial strategy.
Yep.
And you taught me that. And so I love how that's well rounding out this entire process.
And once we implement and the relationship is up and going, things
implement. Did you catch that on Epgrim?
Yeah. So once we implement, right, we want to be able to, because things are always changing. I mean, something can happen with the market in the next 30, 60 days, or something can happen in the real estate market. So we want to make sure that there could be a geopolitical event. We want to be able to implement and then consistently monitor.
That's the M.
The thing that connects us from the implementation and the monitoring standpoint is the actual Epic Wealth Builder. We're connected now at that point because everything is real time at the click of a button.
I think I just figured it out. Eggs for breakfast are filled with protein, and priming is like making sure that everything is just right. So financially, you want your protein and you want to know everything is just right.
Sounds good to me.
Guys, listen, today we've been talking about performing that financial analysis.
Yes.
And Rob, thank you for coming on and actually bringing that expertise.
Yep.
Listen, if you don't have someone that you can shoot from the hip and have conversations with about, hey, what does my plan look like? Am I on track? Am I behind? Like, am I organized? If you're not, there should be a little bit of a feeling that says like, panic. I want that panic to be coming up there for you to be like, I need to do something to correct that.
Yes.
So find someone you can trust and get with them. And if you don't have that person, in the link below, listen, these are people that you should know. And so click the link and have a conversation with them and just say, hey, this is just where I'm at. Because some of you have done a really smart, financially intelligent job, but you're like me, you missed some things and the corners aren't rounded the way they're supposed to be. And for others, you're like, wow, I've delayed this for a little bit. I better get on it. And I can't think of a better team that I would talk to about performing that financial analysis. So go to the description link below, click that link and say, hey, we need to have a free conversation and get a different perspective. For me, a different perspective is what put me on my path to wealth. For me, a different perspective is what has introduced me to incredible people and open doors, and I'm introducing you to one of those right now. So take an opportunity for that. And other than that, make sure you are a subscriber, getting your financial education, eat your Wheaties, breakfast of champions every single day, ring that bell, and we will see you on tomorrow's video.